The route you imagine your plane follows between New York and London, that fixed arc on the seatback screen, does not exist. Every crossing is rebuilt from scratch by winds exceeding 200 miles per hour at cruising altitude. In February 2024, those winds pushed a jetliner to nearly 800 miles per hour. No pilot ever flies the same path twice. The system that determines yours is already rebuilding. At 30,000 feet, the air turns restless. Here, between 30,000 and 39,000 feet, a narrow band of wind circles the planet, an invisible river called the jet stream. It is not a gentle breeze, but a force that can exceed 200 miles per hour, running west to east above the Atlantic. This ribbon is only a mile or two thick, perched just below the tropopause, and it meanders for thousands of miles, shifting north and south from one day to the next. Meteorologists describe the jet stream as the engine of the upper atmosphere. Its core, often no wider than a few hundred miles, draws a sharp line between calm and chaos. On one side, wind speeds drop off rapidly. On the other, the core can deliver a tailwind strong enough to push a jetliner's ground speed past 800 miles per hour, as happened in late February 2024. Yet these winds are not constant. In winter, the polar front jet stream deepens and slides south, strengthening over the North Atlantic. By summer, it retreats and weakens, its power fading with the season. The jet stream's altitude overlaps perfectly with the cruising heights of long-haul jets. Pilots and dispatchers study its shape daily, searching for the fastest, safest path. A flight that rides inside the core can arrive in London nearly an hour early. The same corridor, reversed, becomes a headwind that drags a plane back toward New York, adding time and burning fuel. Every morning, the jet stream redraws the map in the sky, forcing airlines to rethink their routes. No two crossings are ever quite the same because the river of air above the clouds is always on the move. On the night of February 28, 2024, a ripple of disbelief ran through the aviation world. Social media lit up with radar snapshots. A Boeing 787 crossing the Atlantic at ground speeds nudging 800 miles per hour. The numbers seemed impossible until you looked at the wind data. ERA-5 reanalysis showed a jet stream core over the North Atlantic pushing 225 knots at cruising altitude. The aircraft's true airspeed, unchanged from any other night, was simply swept forward by a tailwind stronger than most hurricanes. Open the ADSB archives and plot the same New York to London service on 2 consecutive days. The lines diverge by dozens of miles, sometimes up to 80 nautical miles apart, each path bending to chase the strongest wind or dodge a patch of turbulence. Even the return leg flying west carves a completely different arc, forced to skirt the relentless headwind. The route a pilot files is not a fixed highway, but a provisional line, redrawn each morning by invisible hands. These traces are not just curiosities for data enthusiasts. They are the living record of a system in motion, one that never repeats itself. The evidence is right there, time-stamped and public, for anyone willing to look. Every crossing is a negotiation with the sky, and the proof is written in the digital breadcrumbs left behind. No two flights, not even on back-to-back days, ever follow the same path. The sky above the Atlantic is a shifting puzzle, and every solution is temporary. A dispatcher at a major airline sits before a bank of weather screens, running calculations that will decide the fate of hundreds of passengers and tens of thousands of gallons of fuel. The numbers are not abstract. They are the difference between profit and loss, an early arrival or a late one, a routine flight or an operational headache. On the North Atlantic, a single decision can swing the journey from New York to London by nearly 2 hours. The same plane on 2 different nights can cross in as little as 5.5 hours or as much as 7.5, depending entirely on the winds aloft and the route chosen. Fuel is the lifeblood of the airline business. A 1% shift in burn, up or down, means thousands of dollars gained or lost on every crossing. The jet stream's invisible hand can deliver a 2% fuel saving on a lucky eastbound run, or punish a westbound flight with an equal penalty. In rare cases, when a dispatcher aligns the flight perfectly with the jet's strongest core, the savings become dramatic. A 2021 study found that a single eastbound flight routed to maximize tailwind could have cut its fuel use by 1/6, 16% compared to the most common air traffic control route. That is a difference of over 1 ton of jet fuel and a tangible reduction in emissions, all from a line drawn a few dozen miles north or south. Every morning, dispatchers submit their best guesses, preferred route messages, hoping to catch the strongest tailwind or dodge the worst headwind. But the winds are never the same 2 days in a row. The economics of minutes and money drive a daily scramble for advantage, one that ripples through the entire system. This is why the North Atlantic Organized Track System exists, not as a static highway, but as a living, shifting response to the relentless pressure of time, cost, and the atmosphere itself. Before dawn in Scotland and Newfoundland, a ritual unfolds that shapes every transatlantic crossing. At the Prestwick and Gander control centers, planners gather the latest wind forecasts, airline requests, and a patchwork of airspace restrictions. Their task is to construct the North Atlantic Organized Track System, NATOTS, a set of invisible highways that will exist for just one day. Each morning, a fresh batch of tracks is built from scratch. The planners study the jet stream's twists and surges, searching for the fastest corridors and calmest air. They weigh fuel costs, the pressure of hundreds of flights, and the shifting boundaries of restricted military zones. Airline dispatchers have already sent in their preferred route messages, hoping to secure a path that hugs a powerful tailwind or dodges a patch of turbulence. But the final decision belongs to the controllers, who must balance every competing demand. Up to 12 parallel tracks are drawn, each spaced exactly 60 nautical miles apart. These tracks are labeled with letters: Track Alpha, Track Bravo, Track Charlie, and so on, resetting with each new publication. The geometry is never the same 2 days in a row. The tracks bend and arc to follow the strongest winds or to avoid closed airspace. Eastbound tracks, optimized for the overnight rush from North America to Europe, are reversed for the westbound flow the following day. The system flips like a reversible highway with fixed windows. Eastbound tracks are active from 0100 to 0800 UTC, and westbound from 1130 to 1900 UTC. A senior oceanic planner describes the process as a kind of daily choreography. They say they are not just drawing lines, they are solving a puzzle that changes every time they look at it. Each track must offer enough separation for safety, enough flexibility for weather, and enough efficiency for airlines watching every drop of fuel. The NATOTS Bulletin, published at set times each day, becomes the definitive map for the sky, a map that will vanish and be redrawn by the next shift of winds and demands. Long before the first passenger boards, a different kind of flight begins, one that unfolds in dimly lit rooms filled with weather maps and flickering screens. Hours before sunrise, airline dispatchers send in their preferred route messages, called PRMs, each one a calculated bid for the best possible crossing. These requests are shaped by the latest wind forecasts, aircraft performance data, and the economics of fuel and time. By 1300 UTC for eastbound flights and 0500 UTC for westbound, the clock runs out. From that moment, planners at Prestwick and Gander gather the entire stack of PRMs, feeding them into algorithms designed to sift through thousands of possibilities. The process is not fully automated. Once the software proposes a set of tracks, human planners step in, weighing the merits of each option and resolving conflicts the computer cannot see. As one veteran dispatcher puts it, we're not just chasing tailwinds, we're balancing every demand, every restriction, and every what-if the sky can throw at us. By the time the NATOTS Bulletin is published, the invisible highways above the Atlantic have been drawn anew. tailored for a single day's worth of wind and wishes. A pilot's flight plan is only a starting point. Once airborne, the real work begins. Thunderstorms can erupt along a Houston to Atlanta route, forcing a 45-minute detour that vanishes the next day when skies clear. Over the Atlantic, a New York to Dubai flight might arch north, skirting Iceland to avoid restricted military zones and prevailing headwinds. Controllers may impose miles in trail spacing as European airports fill, sending jets onto looping arcs instead of direct paths. Even in calm weather, the best route is a moving target. A longer track inside a strong tailwind can save more fuel than the shortest distance, while a direct line into a headwind guarantees higher burn and late arrivals. Pilots and dispatchers weigh these trade-offs in real time, juggling weather, airspace closures, and congestion. They do this knowing that every crossing is a one-off negotiation with the sky. No two journeys ever follow the same invisible line. Tonight, as jets race through the corridor from 30,000 to 39,000 feet, their paths bend to winds of more than 200 miles per hour, and to unseen rules. No track, no matter how familiar, will ever repeat. Every crossing is a fleeting solution shaped anew. Above us, routine is only an illusion. Share your thoughts below.